Chapter 1, A Love That Could Not Be Touched. Haicheng City, can't help but feel the cold in her heart.
Although it was the beginning of autumn, Haicheng City had received heavy rain for a few continuous days, which made the whole city shrouded in mist, and the air was particularly damp and cold. As soon as she walked out of the cafe, Lin Nuan felt the cold in the air. Lin Nuan. Gu Hanyan rushed out of the cafe and grabbed Lin Nuan, who was holding an umbrella. She shouted in her shrill voice, "The 4 years Moshen disappeared, his inheritance rights, company shares, and even the car and house in his name were confiscated by his younger brother, Wen Moshen." Lin Nuan's back froze slightly. "The only thing I can save for Wen Moshen now is myself. I don't want to see the day when Moshen comes back to find that he has nothing left." Lin Nuan felt a blow to his heart, bringing him deep pain. Wen Moshen was a love that could not be touched, hidden deep in Lin Nuan's heart. Gu Hanyan stood unprotected against the rain, while Lin Nuan stayed in the shade of his umbrella. The two of them were at a dead end. Lin Nuan pulled her wrist out of the other's grip, took out a large black coat from her shoulder bag and wrapped it around her to chase away some of the cold that was seeping into her bones. "You can force me now only because I love Wen Moshen, but if he comes back one day and finds out the truth, I will surely become an immovable thorn stuck between the two of you. Gu Hanyan, dare you take that risk?" Gu Hanyan's lips trembled as she wanted to answer yes, but she was afraid that answering without hesitation would make her love seem shallow. As she wavered, her almond-shaped eyes turned red and a watery mist covered them, making her look all the more delicate and pitiful in the rain. Lin Nuan's thin, pale fingers gripped the umbrella tightly, her knuckles turning white. Her gaze was clear and calm as she waited for Gu Hanyan's response. Gu Hanyan didn't say anything for a long moment. Lin Nuan turned to leave, but when her gaze fell across the road, on the tall, dark man standing beside the Bentley, she stopped in surprise. The black car was parked just below the streetlight. The orange light scattered among the raindrops to create a soft, hazy halo that settled on the man's broad shoulders, emphasizing the features of his hard face. A man with such an exceptional appearance and stable aura shone wherever he was, to the point that it was impossible to ignore him. It was Huai'an. She didn't know why, but seeing Huai'an at that moment, Lin Nuan felt a certain guilt that made her feel uncomfortable. Even though she hadn't decided to help Gu Hanyan yet, even though she hadn't done anything yet, she started to panic as soon as she saw Huai'an. A gust of wind mixed with drops of rain blew on Lin Nuan, freezing her body almost instantly. Lin Nuan clenched her fist tightly around the umbrella, frozen as she looked at the man in front of her. She desperately wanted to look away from him, but her body was as still as a statue and she was unable to move. A middle-aged man had come out of the perfume residences with Huai'an. Seeing that Huai'an had a cigarette between his fingers, he tried to lick her by holding a lighter with both hands, wanting to light the cigarette for Huai'an. Huai'an's hair and stiff suit were slightly wet from the rain, and he had one hand in his pocket. This pose made him look superior to others, his pride showing in his expression, as well as an aura of nobility. Huai'an was accompanied by his good friend Lin Nuan who, as soon as he came out of the fragrance residences, noticed Lin Nuan on the other side of the road. He raised an eyebrow in surprise and adjusted his collar, his raised eyes narrowing by half as he walked towards Huai'an. "President Wang, could you help me go buy a pack of cigarettes at the convenience store across the road?" Lin Nuan spoke in a casual tone, and the middle-aged man standing next to Huai'an continuously nodded, accepting without hesitation. "No problem, President Liu." "Thank you," Lin Nuan said, without any sincerity. Watching the chubby President Wang trot off, Huai'an calmly extinguished the cigarette in his hand. It was a high-end brand cigarette that someone had given him earlier during the meal, not the brand he usually smoked. Lin Nuan took a box of cigarettes out of his pocket and passed one to Huai'an, then bit into another, saying, "Old Fu, your moonlight is right over there, across the road." Huai'an stopped in the middle of lighting his cigarette and looked at Lu Jinan with a deep, heavy gaze. Lu Jinan bit into his cigarette and put both hands in his pockets. He raised his chin in Lin Nuan's direction and said, "I'm not kidding, she's over there with your fiancé, Gu Hanyan." With the cigarette lit, white smoke rising from the corner of his lips, Fu Huai'an put away his lighter. His deep, undecipherable eyes looked towards the opposite side of the road, quickly spotting the woman watching him. A single glance was enough to break the chord of Lin Nuan's heart, who thought back to Gu Hanyan's words when they were inside the cafe, and his sweaty palms tightened their grip on his umbrella guiltily. The heavy white smoke blurred Fu Huai'an's cold and sharp face, but Lin Nuan still felt a strong and heavy pressure closing in on her, making her panic.
Chapter 2, Is it necessary for you to plan such a big trap? Why is it necessary to plan such a big trap?
Lu Jinan bit the butt of his cigarette. His gaze fearlessly scanned Lin Nuan from across the road and said, "Women, just give them a car, flowers, a bag and a map, and it's easy enough to coax them into bed. Is it necessary for you to plan such a big trap?" "She's different from your women," Fu Huai'an's deep voice calmly replied, a smile forming at the corner of his lips between puffs of white cigarette smoke. "She is indeed different. I've investigated this Lin Nuan before, a radio station flower that no one has ever managed to tarnish. She's really hard to get, too smart, and pretty good at pretending." Lu Jinan spoke in a sour tone, "So you like the kind that's harder to get? Or, do you like it when harder to get women submit to you?" Fu Huai'an pressed the area between his eyebrows with the hand that held the cigarette. He remained silent, and the look in his eyes seemed distant and unfathomable. A car passed by. Lin Nuan ignored the puddles on the road and stepped off the sidewalk, reaching out to stop the car. "Lin Nuan." Gu Hanyan called out to him, but Lin Nuan did not turn around. A mixture of mud and ice water soaked Lin Nuan's white sneakers, but she didn't even notice it. She was eager to escape from a place so close to Fu Huai'an. It was only after she entered the cab and the warm air hit her that she realized her feet were frozen. Lin Nuan held her umbrella and stood in front of Fu Huai'an's villa hesitantly. Because of Gu Hanyan's last words, once Lin Nuan reached her house, she again gave the cab driver Fu Huai'an's address. She was afraid that after this night, she would lose the courage to come and find Fu Huai'an. "Miss Lin." Hearing a voice, Lin Nuan looked up and saw that Fu Huai'an's housekeeper had already opened the door to the house. She rushed towards Lin Nuan carrying an umbrella. Lin Nuan had already sent Fu Huai'an's son home, so the housekeeper had already seen and recognized her. The warm light inside the house shone through the door, making the raindrops clear and distinct. "I saw that someone was standing outside without moving for so long, so I went out to take a look. I didn't think it was Miss Lin." Idly gave Lin Nuan a friendly smile. "Is Miss Lin here today to see Tuan Tuan? Tuan Tuan misses you and he talks about you every day. He keeps saying that Miss Lin promised to come and see him." The sound of rain beating on the umbrella couldn't drown out Idly's cheerful voice. She quickly invited Lin Nuan into the house, saying, "It's pouring outside. Quickly enter the house, Miss Lin. Is Mr. Fu back?" When Lin Nuan asked the question, her grip on the umbrella unconsciously tightened and her heart inevitably felt anxious. Lin Nuan's voice was very weak and could hardly be heard. Idly took a while to understand the question before she reacted and smiled and replied, "Mr. hasn't come home yet." A car's headlights came on and Lin Nuan immediately froze in her tracks. In the car, Fu Huai'an's assistant saw the car light hit Lin Nuan, whose pants were already half soaked. She was standing with Idly, her face slightly pale. The assistant looked at Fu Huai'an through the rearview mirror, saying, "Boss, it's Miss Lin." Fu Huai'an had lowered her head, her deep eyes focusing on the screen of her phone. The light on the screen highlighted Fu Huai'an's cold features, emotionless and without an ounce of warmth. Fu Huai'an looked up, and it was indeed Lin Nuan. Lin Nuan raised his hand to block the car's too bright light, his heartbeat increasing. The car stopped and Fu Huai'an's assistant got out of the car and waved at Lin Nuan briefly before running to the other side of the vehicle. He held an umbrella to escort Fu Huai'an outside. Fu Huai'an got out of the car, his suit still immaculate, even his leather shoes were clean with only a few drops of rainwater on them. It was a stark contrast to Lin Nuan's disheveled appearance. Unconsciously, Lin Nuan straightened his back. "Mr. is back." Idly smiled and spoke in a cheerful tone. "It's raining too hard, you should go in first," Fu Huai'an said to Lin Nuan in a low voice. Lin Nuan followed Fu Huai'an and entered the house. Idly ran a bath for her and found clean clothes for her. "Miss Lin, since the rain is too heavy and the road to Jing'er has been flooded, you will definitely not be able to go home tonight. Sir said to let you rest here for the night, and you can leave tomorrow." Idly passed a set of clean clothes to Lin Nuan. "This is a new set of pajamas that Mr. bought yesterday. It is washed and unworn. Your clothes are all soaked, so just go with it for now. Dinner is already prepared, you can go down and eat after you finish bathing." "Thank you." Lin Nuan took the pajamas. Lin Nuan took a hot bath in the guest room's bathroom, feeling much better afterwards.
Chapter 3, Jealousy with a Hidden Motive. How to talk about Gu Hanyan in a friendly way.
She sat on the edge of the bed and wiped her hair, thinking about how to talk about Gu Hanyan to Fu Huai'an. In fact, she didn't know him very well. Asking him to cancel his engagement seemed ridiculous, no matter how she thought about it. It might even make people think that she was jealous and had a hidden motive. Lin Nuan wiped her hair in frustration. When Lin Nuan went to look for Fu Huai'an, he had already finished dinner and was heading upstairs. The two met at the narrow top of the second-floor stairs. Lin Nuan did not give herself a chance to retreat. She opened her mouth and said in a clear voice, "Mr. Fu, I came with a request." Fu Huai'an, one hand holding a cup of coffee and the other in his pocket, walked up the last step, his tall figure standing against the light. Lin Nuan was completely covered by his shadow. The great feeling of pressure made Lin Nuan cling to the corner of his shirt, her eyebrows furrowed as she straightened her back, unconsciously not wanting to show cowardice. Their gazes met. Huai'an's eyes were peaceful and deep, as if he could easily see through the hearts of others. Lin Nuan's intuition told him that Fu Huai'an preferred those who went straight to the point. If she tried to play tricks in front of him and spoke in a roundabout way, she would surely be found out. Fu Huai'an did not push her, he waited patiently for Lin Nuan to speak. Taking a deep breath, she threw out the speech she had prepared in her head and simplified her words, saying, "Mr. Fu, perhaps you don't know this, but Gu Hanyan was once Wen Moshen's fiancée, and until now, she is still waiting for Wen Moshen to return." Fu Huai'an's pure black eyes made Lin Nuan panic in her heart. She was afraid that Fu Huai'an would think that she had bad intentions. Lin Nuan had just finished her bath, and her slightly curly hair fell loosely to her waist. Seeing that Fu Huai'an was watching her with a heavy gaze, she tucked her long hair behind her ear to hide her embarrassment. As the saying goes, gentlemen don't snatch what others like, and don't push others into a difficult corner. "Mr. Fu, you are a gentleman. Even if you want to get engaged, you should have asked the lady her feelings instead of deciding it with her family. After all, we are no longer in the era of arranged marriages." Lin Nuan spoke respectfully in a gentle, yet firm tone. Her words were direct and unadorned. Although she praised Fu Huai'an as a gentleman, it was simply to flatter him and emphasize his position as a man of character. Fu Huai'an looked at Lin Nuan without much emotion. His cold and thin lips were pursed, and he ignored her words, saying, "I am missing a wife, Tuan Tuan is missing a mother, I don't care whose heart Gu Hanyan has." Lin Nuan suddenly remembered the little boy who looked at her with his big wet eyes, shyly calling her mother. Her palms were covered with a thin layer of sweat, and her heart skipped a beat for a moment. She actually felt that Fu Huai'an's words were a hint to her. Distracted, Lin Nuan watched Fu Huai'an walk past her shoulder. In the room, Fu Huai'an lit a cigarette and carelessly threw his personalized lighter on the coffee table. Hearing a knock on his door, Fu Huai'an picked up his coffee cup with the same hand that held his cigarette, his deep gaze looking in the direction of the door. He remained silent. The results came faster than Fu Huai'an had expected. The sound of knocking began again. Fu Huai'an's long fingers ran along the edge of the cup, and he let out a faint hum before speaking in a relaxed tone, "Come in." Fu Huai'an's deep voice carried beyond the door, and Lin Nuan's heart clenched for a split second. Confusion and cowardice almost darkened her heart, but at the thought of Wen Moshen. His name was like a talisman, diverting her hesitation. Lin Nuan grabbed the door handle, turned it and entered the room. Fu Huai'an was sitting lazily on the sofa, a document resting on his crossed legs. When Lin Nuan walked in, Fu Huai'an was putting the coffee down in her hands and flipping through the next page of the document, a cigarette in her mouth. She closed the door, her expression reflecting a desire to seek death. "Any problems?" Fu Huai'an didn't turn his head, he calmly asked the question while biting into his cigarette. In the room filled with cigarette smoke, Fu Huai'an's expression was slightly obscured. "Mr. Fu, you said that you need a wife, and Tuan Tuan needs a mother. I think it doesn't matter if it's to be Tuan Tuan's mother or to be your wife. I might be much more suitable than Gu Hanyan." The edges of Lin Nuan's eyes were red, and her tone was unfriendly. "You're waiting for me to say that, aren't you?" Fu Huai'an remained silent, his eyelids slightly closed. Through the white smoke, the strong features of his face were blurred. If Fu Huai'an didn't like Gu Hanyan, then Lin Nuan's outstanding appearance could easily win over men. As for being Tuan Tuan's mother, Tuan Tuan had already taken Lin Nuan as her mother, right? Lin Nuan was not so foolish as to not understand Lin Huai'an's hint. Even though Lin Nuan had already decided on this plan beforehand, after hearing Fu Huai'an's hint, her heart was filled with indignation and anger.